Hey there, you are looking rather cute today. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button and also make sure you explore all of my other social media channels for even more content. Enjoy. With that single sentence hanging gently in the air, she bent down, picked up her waiting bags, and walked calmly out of the hotel room, feeling ready deep within her soul to face whatever fresh challenges might be lurking ahead on her path. The road before her was uncertain, yes, but for the very first time in what felt like an incredibly long while, that same uncertain road was also absolutely brimming with bright, beautiful promise. As Isabella stepped off the airplane in her familiar hometown, a powerful wave of nervousness washed over her entire body. This was going to be the true test of everything she had become, facing the people who had known her for years as Esteban, navigating the well-worn, familiar streets while inhabiting a brand new body, and slowly building a life that finally aligned with her transformed, authentic self. She had thoughtfully arranged for a private car service to come pick her up, not feeling quite ready yet to deal with the potential recognition from a taxi driver whom she might have known personally back in her old life. As she settled comfortably into the back seat, she gave the driver the address of her apartment building, then leaned back against the soft upholstery and watched the familiar cityscape roll slowly past her window. Everything looked exactly the same, yet also entirely different from her fresh, new perspective. She found herself noticing small details that she had never paid any attention to before: the graceful way other women dressed as they walked down the busy streets, the subtle, wordless interactions passing between strangers, the way the entire city now seemed to pulse with a completely different kind of energy. When the car finally arrived at her apartment building, Isabella took a deep, steadying breath before stepping out onto the sidewalk. She nodded a polite thank you to the driver, who tipped his cap in return, and then made her way toward the front entrance. The doorman did a visible double-take as she approached him. "Good evening, miss. Can I help you with something?" Isabella smiled warmly, immediately recognizing the familiar, kind face of Mr. Johnson, the man who had been working as this building's doorman for as long as she could possibly remember. "It is me, Mr. Johnson. Esteban, from apartment 4B. Well, Isabella now." Mr. Johnson's eyes widened considerably in surprised recognition. But to his absolute credit, he recovered his composure very quickly. "Well, I will be," he said softly. "Welcome home, Miss Isabella. You are looking very well indeed." "Thank you," she replied, genuinely touched by his easy, immediate acceptance. "It is truly good to be back." As she rode the elevator up toward her floor, Isabella's heart raced wildly inside her chest. What if she ran directly into one of her neighbors? How on earth would they react to seeing her like this? But the hallway was mercifully empty when she finally stepped out. Standing in front of her own apartment door, key in hand, Isabella paused completely. This was it, the precise moment where her brand new life would truly begin to intersect with the old one. With another deep, centering breath, she unlocked the door and stepped inside. The apartment looked exactly as she had left it, but somehow it felt profoundly different now. The furniture seemed larger, the ceilings appeared higher. She walked slowly through each room, seeing every corner of her former home through entirely new eyes. In the bedroom, she opened her closet door and was confronted with row after row of men's clothing hanging neatly inside. The sight brought a large, painful lump to her throat. It was a stark, undeniable reminder of just how much had changed in her life, how much she had willingly left behind. "Time for a clean slate," she murmured softly to herself, pulling out an empty suitcase. She spent the next several hours sorting carefully through her old belongings, setting aside a few sentimental items for safekeeping but packing away the vast majority of it to be donated to charity. As she worked, her phone buzzed with an incoming text message from her mother. "Just checking in on you. How are you settling in so far? Love you." Isabella smiled warmly and typed back a quick response. "So far, so good. Thanks for checking on me. Love you too." She had barely hit the send button when there was a sudden knock at her front door. Freezing in place for one uncertain moment, Isabella debated whether to answer at all, but she knew deep down that she could not hide away from the world forever. Taking yet another steadying breath, she walked to the door and opened it. Standing in the hallway was her best friend, Michael. His eyes widened considerably as he took in her transformed appearance. "Esteban?" he asked, his voice carrying a complex mixture of obvious confusion and genuine concern. Isabella nodded gently, stepping backward to let him come inside. "It is Isabella now, actually. Come in, Michael. I have a very long story to explain to you." Michael entered the apartment slowly, his gaze never once leaving Isabella's face. "Your mother called me," he said quietly. "She said that you had gone through some pretty big changes. But I did not expect, wow." They both sat down on the living room couch, an awkward, heavy silence stretching between them like a physical presence. Finally, Isabella began to speak, explaining everything that had happened during her vacation. Her deep reasons for making such a drastic, life-altering change, her hidden hopes and secret fears for the uncertain future. Michael listened intently, his expressive face cycling slowly through shock, then confusion, and finally, genuine understanding. When Isabella finally finished her long story, he remained quiet for a very long moment. "So," he said at last, "you are genuinely happier like this?" Isabella nodded, feeling warm tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "I am. I know this is an enormous amount of information to take in all at once. And I will completely understand if you need some time to process everything, or if you do not want to." She was abruptly cut off as Michael leaned forward and pulled her into a tight, fierce hug. "You are my very best friend," he said firmly. "That fundamental truth does not change, no matter what you happen to look like on the outside. It might take me some time to get fully used to all of this, but I'm absolutely here for you." Completely overwhelmed with raw emotion, Isabella hugged him back just as tightly, letting the tears flow freely down her cheeks. It was a moment of pure acceptance and deep understanding, something she had not realized until this instant just how desperately she had needed. As they finally pulled apart, Michael grinned widely. "So, I guess this means I will really have to up my game significantly if we are going out to bars together from now on," he said. "You are definitely going to attract a lot more attention looking like this." Isabella laughed out loud, feeling a heavy weight lift dramatically off her shoulders. "Oh, my goodness, I had not even thought about that yet. I have so very much to learn still." "Well," Michael said, standing up and offering her his hand, "there is no time like the present to start learning. What do you say we go grab a cup of coffee somewhere, and you can practice your public debut?" Isabella hesitated for just a moment, then took his hand and stood up. "You know what? That actually sounds absolutely perfect." As they left the apartment together, Isabella felt a powerful surge of fresh confidence flowing through her veins. She knew there would be many more challenges waiting ahead, explaining to other friends, adjusting at work, navigating all the complex social dynamics of her new role. But with supportive, loyal people like Michael standing by her side, she felt truly ready to face whatever might come her way. The local coffee shop was bustling with the usual afternoon crowd when Isabella and Michael arrived. As they waited together in line, Isabella could not help but notice the curious glances being thrown in her direction. She straightened her posture, trying very hard to project a confidence that she did not entirely feel deep down. "What can I get for you today?" the barista asked cheerfully when it was finally their turn. Isabella opened her mouth to give her usual order, then paused thoughtfully. "You know what? I will try a vanilla latte today, please." As they waited for their drinks to be prepared, Michael nudged her gently with his elbow. "New body, new coffee order," he observed with a grin. She shrugged, a small smile playing at the corners of her lips. "Why not? It is all about embracing new experiences now, right?" They found a small, quiet table by the window, and as they sipped their warm beverages, Michael filled Isabella in on all the news she had missed while she had been away. It felt comfortingly normal, just two old friends catching up, despite the truly extraordinary circumstances surrounding them. As they talked, Isabella noticed a small group of women at a nearby table, laughing and chatting animatedly among themselves. She found herself studying them carefully, noting their easy mannerisms, the way they used their hands when they spoke, the effortless camaraderie flowing between them. Michael followed her gaze thoughtfully. "You know," he said after a moment, "if you want, I could introduce you to some of my female friends. It might be really helpful for you to have some girlfriends to talk to about, well, girl stuff." Isabella turned back to him, genuinely touched by his thoughtful offer. That would actually be wonderful. There is still so much I am figuring out every single day. Just then, her phone buzzed loudly with an incoming notification. It was an email from her company's human resources department, confirming receipt of her legal name change request and outlining the next steps for her eventual return to work. Reality came crashing back down around her. "Oh, no," she muttered, showing the email to Michael. "What on earth am I going to do about returning to work?" Michael read the email carefully, then looked up at her with a warm, reassuring smile. "You are going to do exactly what you have always done," he said firmly. "Be professional. Work hard. Let your proven results speak for themselves. The outer packaging might be different now, but deep down, you are still you, Isabella. You have absolutely got this." His unwavering confidence in her bolstered Isabella's spirits considerably. "You are right," she said. "I can absolutely do this. I just need to take everything one single step at a time." As they left the coffee shop together, Isabella felt a brand new sense of determination settling into her bones. Yes, there were certainly challenges waiting ahead. But she had faced many challenges before in her life. This was simply another hurdle to overcome, another opportunity to grow and become even stronger. "Thank you for all of this, Michael," she said as they walked back toward her apartment building. "For being so understanding. For treating me so normally. It honestly means more to me than you will ever know." Michael slung a friendly arm around her shoulders in a warm, companionable hug. That is what friends are truly for. And hey, look on the bright side. Now I can finally share all of my terrible dating horror stories with someone who will genuinely appreciate them. Isabella laughed out loud, feeling lighter and more carefree than she had felt in many days. As they walked, she found herself standing taller, growing more comfortable inside her own new skin. The stares from passing strangers did not bother her quite as much now. This was who she truly was, and she was finally beginning to embrace that fact fully. Back at her apartment, Michael helped her finish sorting through her old belongings, offering a helpful mix of practical advice and terrible jokes that kept her laughing even as she dealt with the bittersweet task of packing away her former life. As evening fell, they ordered takeout food and settled in to watch a movie together, just like they had done countless times before. It was a small slice of comforting normalcy in the midst of so much dramatic change, and Isabella found herself profoundly, deeply grateful for it. When Michael finally left for the night, he paused at the front door. "You know," he said quietly, "I always thought you were brave, even before all of this happened. But now you are genuinely the bravest person I have ever known, Isabella." She felt fresh tears prick at her eyes again, but this time they were tears of pure joy. "Thank you," she said softly. "Thank you for absolutely everything." After he left, Isabella stood alone in the middle of her living room, taking in the familiar space that now somehow felt so completely different. Tomorrow would bring entirely new challenges. She would have to start preparing for her return to work, continue adjusting to her transformed life, face more people from her past. But for now, in this single, perfect moment, she felt truly at peace. She walked over to the window, looking out at the city lights twinkling in the deepening darkness. Her own reflection was gently superimposed over the beautiful view. Long hair, delicate features, the elegant line of her neck disappearing gracefully into the collar of her blouse. "Hello there, Isabella," she whispered softly to her own reflection. "It is so nice to finally meet you." With a genuine smile on her lips, she turned away from the window and began preparing for bed. Tomorrow was the very first day of the rest of her entire life, and she was finally, fully ready to face it head-on. The next morning, Isabella woke up early, a powerful mix of nervous energy and genuine excitement coursing through her entire body. Today was the day she would return to work, facing her colleagues as Isabella for the very first time. She stood in front of her closet, surveying the new wardrobe she had so carefully selected over the past several weeks. After much thoughtful deliberation, she chose a smart navy blue dress paired with a matching blazer, professional yet still undeniably feminine. "Perfect," she said aloud. She took her time with her hair and makeup, wanting very much to present the very best possible version of herself to the world. As she gave herself a final, thorough once-over in the mirror, She could not help but marvel at just how far she had come in such a remarkably short amount of time. The person staring back at her now exuded a quiet, steady confidence that she had never once felt as Esteban. "You have absolutely got this," she told her reflection firmly. The walk to the subway station was a genuine test of her nerves. Every single glance thrown in her direction made her heart race with anxiety. But she held her head up high, reminding herself firmly that she had every single right to be exactly who she was. On the crowded train, she noticed a young woman struggling with a heavy bag. Without even thinking about it, Isabella rose from her seat and offered it to her. The woman smiled gratefully, and Isabella felt a warm glow of quiet satisfaction spread through her chest. It was such a small, simple gesture, but it made her feel deeply connected to the world around her in an entirely new way. As she approached her office building, Isabella took yet another deep, steadying breath. She had spoken with the Human Resources Department and her immediate supervisor beforehand, but this would be her very first time facing the entire office all at once. She pushed through the revolving doors, nodding politely to the security guard, who did a visible double-take but then quickly recovered with a polite, "Good morning, m." In the elevator, she smoothed down her dress nervously, her heart pounding loudly in her ears as the numbers ticked steadily upward. When the doors finally opened on her floor, she stepped out with as much confidence as she could possibly muster. The entire office fell completely silent as she walked in. She could feel every single eye in the room fixed upon her as she made her way toward her desk. Then, a familiar voice broke the heavy tension. "Isabella, welcome back." It was Sarah from accounting, approaching her with a warm, genuine smile. "HR filled all of us in. You look absolutely fantastic." The sincere warmth in Sarah's voice broke the ice completely. Other colleagues began to approach her one by one, offering words of genuine support and heartfelt admiration for her courage. There were a few awkward moments, a few confused looks, but overall, the reception was far more positive than Isabella had ever dared to hope for. Her boss, Mr. Thompson, called her into his office midway through the morning. "Isabella," he said, gesturing for her to take a seat. "I just wanted to check in with you personally. How are you settling back in so far?" "So far, so good," she replied, surprised by just how steady and calm her own voice sounded. "Everyone has been very supportive." Mr. Thompson nodded approvingly. "I am very glad to hear that. You know, I have always valued your strong work ethic and your keen attention to detail. I am completely confident that those excellent qualities have not changed at all, regardless of your outer appearance." Isabella felt a powerful wave of relief wash over her entire body. "Thank you, sir. That truly means a great deal to me." As she left his office, Isabella felt a renewed sense of purpose settle deep into her bones. She threw herself enthusiastically into her work, determined to prove that she was still the same dedicated, capable employee she had always been. The day was not without its challenges, of course. There were moments of genuine confusion over which restroom to use. A few unintentional slip-ups with pronouns. The occasional awkward, stilted conversation. But Isabella handled each and every situation with graceful patience, understanding completely that this was a major adjustment for everyone around her as well. By the time she packed up her things to leave for the day, Isabella felt a deep sense of genuine accomplishment. She had faced one of her biggest fears, and had come out the other side stronger because of it. As she was gathering her belongings, Sarah from accounting approached her desk. "Hey, Isabella, a few of us are going out for drinks after work. Would you like to join us?" Isabella hesitated for just a moment, then smiled warmly. "You know what? I would love to." The bar was crowded and noisy, but Isabella found herself slowly relaxing as she chatted with her co-workers. They asked thoughtful questions about her transition, but they also talked about work projects, shared funny personal stories, and generally treated her like any other valued member of the team. As she sipped her wine, Isabella caught her own reflection in the large mirror hanging behind the bar. The woman looking back at her was smiling genuinely, engaged in easy conversation, fitting in seamlessly with the cheerful group around her. For the very first time since her transformation, Isabella felt truly, completely, authentically herself. She had taken a tremendous leap into the great unknown. She had faced her deepest fears. And she had come out stronger on the other side. As she raised her glass to join in a cheerful toast, Isabella knew deep in her soul that while there would undoubtedly be many more challenges waiting ahead, she was truly ready to face every single one of them. She had finally found her true self, and absolutely nothing in the world could ever take that away from her now. The weeks that followed were a complete whirlwind of adjustments and brand new experiences for Isabella. Each day brought its own unique set of challenges and small triumphs as she continued navigating her transformed life. At work, she quickly re-established herself as a valued, respected team member. Her colleagues, after the initial shock had faded, came to genuinely appreciate her unique perspective and the fresh, vibrant energy she brought to every project. There were still occasional awkward moments, a misplaced pronoun here, a lingering double-take there. But overall, Isabella felt genuinely accepted and sincerely respected by everyone around her. Outside of work, she began to slowly build an entirely new social circle. True to his word, Michael introduced her to several of his female friends. At first, Isabella felt deeply out of her depth, worried constantly that she would somehow give herself away as not being a real woman. But she soon discovered that these fears were completely unfounded. Her new friends welcomed her warmly and unconditionally. Isabella found herself staying up late into the night, engaged in heartfelt, meaningful conversations about relationships, career aspirations, and the unique challenges that women in society face every single day. One evening, as they all sat gathered in Sarah's living room, sipping wine and sharing personal stories, Isabella felt a sudden, powerful wave of raw emotion wash over her completely. This was exactly what she had always longed for deep in her heart. A genuine sense of belonging. Of being truly understood on a fundamental, soul-deep level. "Are you okay, Bella?" asked Megan, noticing the tears welling up in Isabella's eyes. Isabella nodded, dabbing gently at her eyes with a tissue. "More than okay, actually. I never thought I would ever have this. Friends who truly understand me. Who accept me for exactly who I am." The women exchanged warm, knowing glances with one another. Then Sarah leaned over and pulled Isabella into a tender, comforting hug. "You are one of us now, honey. We have absolutely got your back." As the weeks turned smoothly into months, Isabella found herself growing more and more comfortable inside her own new skin. She experimented playfully with different styles, finding genuine joy in expressing herself through fashion in ways that she had never been able to do before. Her wardrobe expanded significantly, filling up with colorful dresses, sleek pantsuits, and an ever-growing collection of beautiful shoes. One Saturday morning, as she was getting ready for a day out shopping with her friends, Isabella caught sight of herself in the full-length mirror. She was wearing a lovely floral sundress, her hair falling in soft, gentle waves around her bare shoulders. For a single moment, she barely recognized herself, not because she looked different, but because she looked so completely natural. So utterly at ease. "Well, hello there," she murmured to her own reflection, a genuine smile playing at the corners of her lips. The doorbell rang downstairs, interrupting her quiet moment of self-reflection. It was Sarah and Megan, arriving right on time for their planned shopping trip. "Ready to hit the mall?" Sarah asked brightly as Isabella grabbed her purse. "Born ready," Isabella replied with a wide grin. The mall was bustling with weekend shoppers as they wandered from store to store, trying on clothes and offering each other honest advice. Isabella marveled quietly at how completely natural all of this now felt. She no longer felt like an imposter or an outsider. She was simply another woman enjoying a fun day out with her close friends. In one boutique, as Isabella was trying on a form-fitting red dress, she overheard a hushed conversation between two other customers. "Can you believe how tall she is?" one woman whispered to her friend. Isabella felt a warm blush creep up her cheeks, a complex mix of embarrassment and quiet pride. It was still strange to her, being the object of envy rather than the one doing the envying. As she stepped out of the dressing room to proudly show her friends the dress, she saw their eyes widen with genuine appreciation. "Girl, you are absolutely rocking that dress," Megan exclaimed. Sarah nodded enthusiastically in agreement. "You have to buy it. It is perfect for your date next week." Isabella froze completely in place. "Date? What date?" Her friends exchanged mischievous, knowing glances with one another. Well, Sarah said carefully, we may have set you up with my cousin. He is smart, funny, and totally your type. We thought it was about time you got back out there in the dating world. Isabella's heart raced wildly inside her chest. A date. With a man. It was something she had thought about occasionally, of course, but the sudden reality of it was now very immediate and very, very scary. I do not know, she said hesitantly. I'm not sure I am truly ready for something like that yet. Megan put a comforting hand on her arm. Hey, absolutely no pressure at all. If you are not ready, then you are simply not ready. Isabella looked at herself in the mirror once more, studying her own reflection thoughtfully. Maybe her friends were right. Maybe it was finally time to take yet another brave step forward on her incredible journey. Okay, she said, taking a deep breath. I will do it. But you two have to promise to help me get ready. Her friend squealed with delighted excitement, pulling her into a joyful group hug right there in the middle of the boutique. As they continued their shopping spree with renewed, enthusiastic energy, Isabella felt a wonderful mix of nervous excitement and happy anticipation fluttering wildly in her stomach. Thanks so much for watching. Please do not forget to check out all of my other social media pages if you want even more wonderful content, early access exclusive material, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and so much more. All of the relevant links can be found conveniently down below.